Today we're looking at the flagship devices of two top Korean manufacturers, and we're also going to learn that even though at first glance they might seem very different, they're actually incredibly alike. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And this is the Samsung Galaxy S4 versus the LG Optimus G Pro. The differences and similarities definitely begin with the design. From a first glance, you'll see that the Optimus G Pro is quite larger than the Galaxy S4. While the S4 might span just about 5.3 inches tall, the Optimus G Pro takes on a profile much like the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and gets almost up to 6 inches tall and is about a third of an inch wider. Once you get either phone in your hand and get past the size difference, these two phones end up being incredibly alike. The first thing you'll notice is the plastic material that both phones employ. Button layouts are very similar too. The only real difference is the Q button found above the volume rockers on the Optimus G Pro that can be programmed for a number of shortcuts. Obviously, the Optimus G Pro is much harder to handle with one hand than the Galaxy S4 due to its larger and heavier size. While the S4 is the best handling 5-inch screen device available right now, the G Pro is a 5.5-inch screen device definitely meant to be handled mostly by two hands. With such similar looks and button layouts, it really comes down to size here. Ultimately, if you want to keep the handling as easy as possible, then the Galaxy S4 is probably the one for you. Should you really want a bigger size though, then obviously you can go for the G Pro. But the device you choose will very likely be influenced by factors outside of just sheer design. And one of those factors will indeed be the displays. While there is a half-inch difference in the size of either screen, both sport about the same specifications. The Super AMOLED display of the Samsung Galaxy S4 is a 1080p display rated at 441 ppi. It is a great display with very saturated looks that complement the uber colorful motif of Samsung's Touchwiz UI. It's no surprise that this is one of the best examples of how much fun you can have on a 5-inch display. With that in mind, however, imagine if that screen was even larger. The less saturated 5.5-inch True IPS display of the Optimus G Pro is also capable of 1080p resolution, but is instead rated for 401 ppi. This lowered pixel density is, honestly, a very small difference though. Text is thus rendered very well either way, and videos, pictures, and games are undoubtedly enjoyable no matter which device you use. In practice, the main difference again is just the size. If bigger truly means better for you, especially when it comes to media, then the G Pro will definitely fulfill your requirements. Otherwise, 5 inches has proven to be a great size for a smartphone display and can still prove very enjoyable for your viewing pleasure. Once again, we see just how much these two devices are alike through their performance. We are speaking specifically of the Western version of the Samsung Galaxy S4, and thus, we're talking about the Snapdragon 600, clocked in at 1.9 GHz and backed by the Adreno 320 and 2 GB of RAM. It is certainly a wonderful performer that allows you super fast experiences and multitasking. While the Optimus G Pro did come out a little before the S4, it was one of the first devices to sport the Snapdragon 600, and it rocked it quite well. Clocked in at 1.7 GHz, it is also backed by the Adreno 320 and 2 GB of RAM. Thus, you get very similar and still very fast performance in the G Pro. While it does score lower than the S4 though, no one can deny that the G Pro is a very similar performer to the S4. Performance is just another category that fails to make any real separations between these two smartphones. Luckily, that just means you won't be slowed down no matter which of these two you choose. LG and Samsung put a lot of work into making these two phones offer as much as possible. We'll start with the Samsung Galaxy S4 and underneath its removable cover. There is a removable battery that allows for replacements when power gets low, and the 16, 32, or 64 GB of onboard memory can be bolstered by the micro SD card slot. An IR blaster allows the S4 to control a host of different devices like TVs or set-top boxes, and finally, its unique bits include a host of sensors used for navigation and some unique applications. Going under the back cover of the Optimus G Pro, you'll see that it also sports a removable and replaceable battery, though it is a larger one. More on that in a bit. Its 32 GB of onboard memory is also bolstered by the inclusion of a micro SD card slot. The G Pro also comes with an IR blaster for controlling TVs and related devices. When it comes to sensors, unfortunately, the G Pro doesn't have as many as the S4. It sports the standards like the gyroscope and the accelerometer. Eastern versions include a long antenna for viewing broadcast television, but after that, this is pretty much it. While the Galaxy S4 brings more to the table than the G Pro, their applications depend entirely on whether or not you will actually use them. As far as the actual required bits for smartphone usage go, the G Pro has them all covered. If you want to take advantage of the unique things the S4 offers, then you can go that route. Otherwise, the G Pro is like a standard smartphone on steroids. It does everything we're already used to in an obviously bigger way. As I mentioned before, the Optimus G Pro sports a larger battery to compensate for its larger screen and body, and it really is an increase. Compared to the 2600 mAh battery found in the S4, you get a whopping 3140 mAh unit in the G Pro. This big jump in capacity should allow the G Pro to outlast the S4 when it comes to battery life. Unfortunately, this is only partially true. Battery tests showed that the optimizations and power-saving features of the Galaxy S4 helped it outlast the G Pro, especially in media consumption. Luckily, a spare battery and charging dock are included in the G Pro package. While you could certainly buy a spare battery for the S4 and have it handy, at least it comes as a standard with the G Pro. And now we come to the cameras. The Samsung Galaxy S4 sports a 13 megapixel camera and the picture quality from it is very good, with details more than adequately reproduced and colors given a good level of saturation to make just about any photo pop. What the S4 offers most of is in the application itself, where many different modes can be used to make your smartphone photography more fun. There are drama and eraser modes for adding or subtracting subjects from your pictures, as well as dual recording modes that, to be fair, were first shown in the Optimus G Pro. Dual recording on the S4 does bring more borders and filters, however. Speaking of the Optimus G Pro's camera, its 13 megapixel optics also bring very good picture quality, though in this particular picture you can see that it does not manage a depth of field that the S4's did. Details are captured just as well though, and the color reproduction is also quite good. The application does not offer quite as much as the one found in the S4, but it does do HDR, dual recording, and its own version of Photosphere quite well. Once again, the G Pro shows itself as a standard smartphone on steroids, doing what it is expected to do very well, while the S4 brings some unique features for those who are looking to be more adventurous. Either way, you'll have a great photo companion despite the G Pro not being quite as pocketable as the S4. And finally, we have the software. Given that thus far both LG and Samsung have managed to pack a lot into their flagships, this category is pretty much no different. We'll start with Touchwiz, the all-too-familiar UI with new navigation features. Gesture-based sensors allow you to move about browsers and galleries with a wave of your hand, and hovering your finger allows for quick previews of text or albums. There are new applications like S-Health and S-Translator made to make your life easier. These all bolster included features like the split screen, which is a great multitasking tool. You either love or hate Touchwiz, though the new additions definitely give it a freshness that it has needed. The Optimus UI is not as bloated or colorful as Touchwiz, but packs a similarly large amount of features. While it does not have the sensors the S4 has for navigation, many little tools have been added that help with multitasking. Q apps are small applications like Q Voice and Q Memo that you can put over your current workspace for quick small tasks. You can, for example, browse the internet in one and take notes in the other. The Q button at the top left of the device is another unique feature of the G Pro, which can be programmed as a shortcut for opening applications or Q apps. Ultimately, what the G Pro lacks in sensors for navigation is made up for in the Q button and the small overlay Q apps. You can't go wrong with multitasking or customizing your experience no matter which phone you get, so it comes down to whether or not the new ways of navigating in the S4 makes it more attractive to you. When looking at these phones unlocked, the larger Optimus G Pro comes with a larger price tag as it is found for close to $800 US. The Galaxy S4 on the other hand can be found for up to $700 US when unlocked. As far as contracts go, we'll use AT&T as our measure as both phones are found on that carrier and then both come in at $199 for 2-year contracts. And so, there you have it. These two phones offer the most and the best that their respective manufacturers have so far managed in the smartphone market. It's really hard to argue the main factors like display and performance because both phones give largely the same great experience. It comes down to software offerings and the sizes. The S4 does bring a few more unique features to the table and its smaller size may be more appealing to general users. However, some really want the larger screen and the G Pro handles typical smartphone usage with ease. In the end, it is up to you which phone will better complement your lifestyle. The takeaway here, though, is that Samsung's Galaxy Note 30 is on the way. With the Optimus G Pro crowding the space it once reigned over, we could be seeing great things from the next Note device. For all of the best Android coverage, stay tuned to Android Authority's YouTube channel. Remember to drop us a like and then don't forget to subscribe. And then head over to AndroidAuthority.com because we're your source for all things Android.